Good morning from Liberia, the news read by Sengwe Johnson. In the headlines, the United States Embassy near Monrovia says the U.S. support for Saturday's elections takes the form of direct assistance to the electoral process managed by ICOM and indirect support to key elements of the election process itself. The Carter Center has noted with serious concern that ICOM has said this week's elections will not be postponed, and any threat in this direction is most inappropriate. NPP Standard Bearer former Councilman Charles Ganke Taylor has spoken of plans to improve the social and economic welfare of the people of Grand Bassa County. With 4 days to the run-up to general and presidential elections, sources close to the United Nations headquarters have revealed that Unity Party Standard Bearer Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, instead of resigning her UN job, only requested and received a 6-month leave of absence in order to allow her return to her assignment in the event that she loses Saturday's elections. In Algeria, a bomb has ripped through a crowded market in the capital Algiers, killing 21 people and injuring about 40 others. The United States Embassy in Monrovia yesterday announced that with the arrival of the official ballots recently for the holding of Saturday's general and presidential elections, the U.S. government has exceeded its targeted level of assistance to the Liberian electoral process. A release from the embassy said the value of goods and services provided by America for the elections as of July 9 this year stood at $9.2 million US dollars, about $315,000 US dollars are more than offered, and does not include its contribution to UN programs in support of the Liberian elections. The release said American support for Saturday's elections takes the form of direct assistance to the electoral process managed by the Independent Elections Commission and indirect support to key elements of the election process itself. According to the release, the U.S. direct assistance to ICOM includes technical support in the form of election specialists and the International Foundation of Election System, commodities such as office equipment and supplies, transportation and communication. The Carter Center has reaffirmed its strong support for free elections in Liberia and for the Independent Elections Commission in its efforts to ensure such process. A release from the Carter Center says it notes with serious concern that ICOM has said Saturday's elections will not be postponed, and any threat in this direction is inappropriate. The release also quotes the center as saying it has observed elections in 12 countries in similar transitional phase, and on the eve of such an important moment, it is natural for the people to be anxious and uncertain. According to the release, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter is expected to lead a large and important delegation to Liberia in support of the democratic process in this country, and has encouraged registered voters to participate in the process. NPP Standard Bearer former Councilman Charles Ganke Taylor yesterday addressed thousands of citizens and residents of Grand Bassa County at a major political rally held in Buchanan to outline his programs and plans of action for the Third Republic. According to our reporter in that city, thousands of citizens turned out on Sunday to receive Mr. Taylor, following which he attended an intercessory service to mark his safe arrival. He enumerated the several development programs which he has undertaken in Grand Bassa and spoke of plans to improve the social and economic welfare of the people of that county. The NPP Standard Bearer has repeatedly said, following his election, he would include his rivals in the new Liberian government. Mr. Taylor said all Liberian professional expertise will be needed in the nation-building process. He optimistically spoke of a landslide victory on Saturday and continues to urge his supporters to remain calm and conduct themselves in an orderly manner in the run-up to the elections. Meanwhile, with 5 days to the final electoral judgment in Liberia, the political ratings of Mr. Taylor continues to rise, with a current visit to various political subdivisions of the country. Since the launching of the official campaign season, he has received magnanimous support from thousands of citizens throughout the country, including Liberian refugees in neighboring countries, many of whom have returned home to participate in Saturday's elections. Supporters see the NPP standard-bearer as the only potential presidential candidates capable of winning the coming general and presidential elections. Independent media surveys have rated him as ranking first amongst other candidates. With 4 days to elections, it has been revealed in Monrovia that Unity Party standard-bearer Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has still not resigned her portfolio at the United Nations. Sources close to the UN headquarters in New York have revealed that Mrs. Sirleaf instead requested and received a 6-month leave of absence in order to allow her return to her assignment in the event that she loses the elections. Mrs. Sirleaf, who abandoned the Liberia Action Party and subsequently negotiated and purchased the standard-bearership of her new party, has begun to experience a serious slap in the face as many key supporters of the party are resigning. Maryland County Representative Clark Wilson has called on Maryland citizens not to allow their political franchise to be influenced by any individual who will want to use mere political sentiments to win their votes. In a release, Representative Wilson said citizens of the county should reflect soberly on the process of electing a leader that will bring massive development to Maryland. He told the citizens to vote for a presidential aspirant who has promised to improve their welfare. You're listening to news coming to you from the radio service of the Liberia Communications Network. We're broadcasting from our central newsroom in Monrovia. The first group of 40 short-term electoral observers have arrived in the country to participate in the July national elections. On July 19, these United Nations observers will observe polling and counting on Saturday to verify that the elections were free and fair according to internationally accepted standards. According to a Unimail release, the group underwent 2 days of training in Abidjan, La Côte d'Ivoire. They were deployed by road to Sanikwele, Zozo, Banga, Riverset, Stubbornburg, and Vonjima. The group will be joined this week by an additional 160 UN short-term electoral observers. The observers will be based in 17 electoral observation bases in all 13 counties, including Monrovia. An opinion leader of Grand Jida County, Mr. William Toa, is calling on Grangidians to resist in all forms the temptation of being taken away from the larger society. Speaking on Kiss FM last evening, Mr. Toa asked citizens of the county to see the vision of the Third Republic, send their children to school, and quickly begin to develop themselves in order to fit in the new era. He spoke of reconciliation and said he was very proud that many Grangidians are beginning to see the light, and as a result, are wasting no time in making their intentions known. On the current political process, Mr. Toa disclosed that reports from Grand Jida speak of readiness of citizens to cast their votes on Saturday, as a team of new breed politicians headed by NPP senatorial aspirant Peter Feinbohr have been there since the inception of the official campaign period, mobilizing and conscientizing the people. Meanwhile, the Liberian Deputy Finance Minister for Expenditure and Debt Management has commended a group of young people hailing from his native land for their wise decision in forming an organization called Grand Jida Youth, enhancing the vision of Mr. Charles Ganke Taylor. The National Patriotic Party Montserrado County senatorial aspirant Grace Minor will today lead thousands of NPP partisans from constituency number 6 at a mass rally at the Centennial Pavilion in Monrovia. According to reports, the rally is intended to educate voters from the constituency on the elections rule and further create high spirit for Saturday's elections. According to the report, the partisans will use the occasion to pledge their support to the NPP standard-bearer, former Councilman Charles Ganke Taylor and Ms. Minor. The program is expected to draw together several government officials, partisans, and business community. Also at the program, there will be a rally to sustain the work of the party in the area. The National Patriotic Youth Council will on tomorrow and Thursday launch a massive campaign throughout Monrovia as part of last-minute preparation to Saturday's elections. Speaking to LCN News recently, NPYC Chairman Edwin Snow said, with a level of vigorous campaign being launched by the NPP Youth Wing, the party expects nothing less than a landslide victory in the coming elections. Mr. Snow reiterated calls by the standard-bearer, former Councilman Charles Ganke Taylor, that all supporters should not engage in any act that is incompatible with the electoral laws. He used the occasion to commend efforts by ECOMOG for not only encouraging African solidarity, but a credible gesture to the sub-region. A resident of 12th Street in Sincor, Mr. John Somerville, was yesterday flogged by supporters of the Unity Party for displaying the poster of NPP standard-bearer, former Councilman Charles Ganke Taylor. Speaking to LCN News, Mr. Somerville said the event started when ECOMOG soldiers assigned with Mrs. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf attacked him and accused him of campaigning for Mr. Taylor. Mr. Somerville, who sustained injuries, said during the attack his life was threatened and warned not to display the poster of the NPP standard-bearer. This report comes following a violent scene last Saturday in Painesville, where the Unity Party supporters brutalized NPP partisans and sympathizers. And away from home, ECOMOG commanders and Sierra Leonean coup leaders met following nearly 2 days of fighting close to the capital, Freetown. There has been no details of the talks. Weekend battles between the two sides left 4 people dead and dozens others wounded at Joey, which is almost 30 kilometers east of Freetown. In Algeria, a bomb has ripped through a crowded market in the capital, Algiers, killing 21 people and injuring about 40 others. Algerian security officials say the late morning blast occurred in the Bakakili district on the outskirts of the city. They suspect Muslim militants. This latest round of bombing follows reports that suspected extremists killed 44 people in 3 massacres over the weekend. And Amnesty International says the relocation of civilians by the Burundian Tutsi-dominated government is a policy of forced segregation that increases ethnic tension. A report from the human rights organization has said the relocations involve almost exclusively Hutus. The Burundian government says regrouping of civilians into camps is voluntary and meant to protect everybody, majority Hutus and minority Tutsis, from attacks by rebels in the interior of Burundi. Amnesty said the policy is part of a military strategy to deprive rebels of support among the Hutu peasantry. And now, to end this news broadcast, here again are the headlines. The United States Embassy near Monrovia says U.S. support for Saturday's elections takes the form of direct assistance to the electoral process managed by ICOM and indirect support to key elements of the election process itself. The Carter Center has noted with serious concern that ICOM has said this week's elections will not be postponed, and any threat in this direction is most inappropriate. NPP standard-bearer, former Councilman Charles Ganke Taylor, has spoken of plans to improve the social and economic welfare of citizens of Grand Bassa County. With 4 days to the run-up to general and presidential elections, sources close to the United Nations headquarters have revealed that Unity Party standard-bearer Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, instead of resigning her UN job, only requested and received a 6-month leave of absence in order to allow her to return to her assignment in the event that she loses Saturday's elections. And in Algeria, a bomb has ripped through a crowded market in the capital, Algiers, killing 21 people and injuring about 40 others. That's the news from Liberia. I'm Singwe Johnson.